Welcome to Friday Night Party Line. Tonight on the show, we've got Skojo. Hey, Skojo.
Hey, Victor.
How you doing, man?
How was Comey Fest?
Amazing and a little confusing, but maybe we can parse out some of the weirdness of it. Of course, we have Chirpa. Hey, Chirps.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I am so tired. I've turned into a Russian grandmother.
Wait, are you influencing our election?
Yes.
Russian grandmother.
Yeah. I meet the nice boy down the polling station and gave him cookies.
That is nowhere near the right accent, I should add. That wandered through about 8 countries in 4 seconds. It sounds like Jason trying to do an accent.
Jason is a wonderful man, but he does not do accents well. We got a lot to get through today. So first off, Ed, first and foremost about the whole Comey thing, because we gotta talk about this. I think the first thing that can be said about the whole thing is that if you believed that Trump and that there's nothing going on between Russia and the Trump campaign, you're coming out of the Comey thing feeling vindicated. If you believe that it did have something to do with it, you're walking out feeling vindicated. I think both sides have plucked the perfect amount of spin for themselves throughout this whole thing. Does that sound about right to you guys?
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah. My first thing is... Oh, go ahead, Skojo.
Well, I mean, if you weren't looking for... Like, I'm never one of those people that considered that Trump was probably directly dealing with Russians. So that was like... I feel like they're... Like the people that are saying, "Oh, well, see, he doesn't have any connection," like are completely missing the fact that it's not Trump that everybody's looking at; it's everybody else in his freaking campaign.
Yeah. Oh man, it's really just such a. We were talking a little bit about it before the show, and this Comey. God, what do you even call it? It's a testimony at in front of Congress. It's not some isolated thing that you can kind of just parse in and of itself. It's just like it's part of this big nested babushka doll of the whole situation. It's just like one more layer in. A lot of it boils down to how Congress feels like it wants to interpret a hope from a president. What was it? Trump said that he hoped Comey could lift the dark cloud of this whole Russia thing off of it. Just,
Yes.
I can't imagine. We were you were talking about how tough it must be to stand in front of a bunch of senators and a whole crowd and a whole bunch of reporters clicking away, and
that's
like,
why they
still
gave
come
him a
up.
seat.
Yeah.
what?
Wow.
What is it, Charles? What?
And that's why they gave him a seat. He was sitting down the whole time.
I mean, it's got to be daunting, though.
I can't imagine if you're not like Comey is like a guy who's really he's like it's been like 20 years of appearing in front of Congress,
Right.
so like it's not super crazy. I mean, he's well known for being, very good at
Stone-faced.
well, no, they're just very good at the stagecraft you need to tell a compelling story in front of Congress.
Yep.
And he pretty much did that. I actually read his 7-page report, which reminded me now that was what I was going to say at the beginning of the show, which was like, that was the last time I talked to Donald Trump alone.
Alone. Can we talk about how expertise is clearly important in any field, but you really have to appreciate the fact that Comey goes in with these conversations with Trump, and he's like seeing this whole thing like 8 moves ahead to the point that he's like, I should really be taking detailed notes about this. Each of our conversations. That's long-term.
I just like
thinking.
how, all the weird little Trump fans are like, oh, he's playing 4-dimensional chess. He's playing 5-dimensional chess. He's playing 65-dimensional chess. It looks like Comey's about 3 dimensions ahead.
Yeah, Trump is playing checkers, mind you.
Like 1-dimensional checkers. They don't even move through time.
Well, that was a great comment. That was a great comment from Paul Ryan, where he's like, "Oh, well, he just doesn't know what he's doing yet. He's new at this." And it's
After
like,
8
whoa,
years,
guys!
What?
No. We're talking about Trump. Yeah,
I know, but after 8 years of yelling about how this fucking eminently qualified man was president before, about yelling about how he's completely unqualified, and now we're pulling out the excuse of, oh, he's a bit new, give him a chance. No, fuck off.
Well, sure, but if there's one thing Republicans are really good at, it's saying something 5 years ago that later comes back to explain their behavior now.
No kidding. And I think that's possibly the reason that Trump is now essentially leading the party. It's because he is the best at it. Literally every time there is a tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he recently said that he would give his version of events under oath. I'm interested to see if I'm interested to see when he backpedals on that.
Well, I'd be pleased to see him do it. I mean, after all, we've already impeached one president in the last 20, 30 years for perjury and obstruction of justice. Let's go for 2.
Yeah. I'm not sure what he's thinking would come out of that. I
think you need to cut that sentence off about halfway. I'm not sure he's thinking.
Let's be honest, we know exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking, I'm the best liar. They'll never catch me. They can never catch me. I'll make it through. All I gotta do is just tell them whatever they want to hear.
I just don't understand how he thinks that he could get into a fight between a guy who has like a sterling reputation as being, you might not agree with what Comey did in the past in certain cases, but you never questioned that what he was trying to do was to be like the bigger Boy Scout, than the other people there. It might not have been the best move politically, but that his thought is not about the politics. It's about, making sure that the FBI looks independent and is serious and, well run. And then you have a guy who became president because he talked about the last president not being born in the United States for a whole bunch of years. And that is the BS area we're in. And I don't know if there's anything to say past that. I feel like every conversation should just be like, dude, the president of the United States, our current president of the United States spent like 4 or 5 years talking extensively about the prior president's birth certificate. And when called out each time, he doubled down. And no one has held him to account for that at all. Like, nothing. We've made him the president of the United States. At that point, it's just like, I don't know what to tell you guys. F you guys.
I think
maybe we should demand to see Trump's birth certificate. Prove that he's not a fucking alien.
I think we have a better chance. I think we have a better chance of getting his taxes.
And like I posted something on Facebook about how I was like, I don't even want to get into a conversation with a conservative that doesn't start the conversation by saying, yeah, Trump was a really bad mistake. Like, I know I'm getting a lot what I want out of this, and maybe some things are working out, but if they can't admit that, like, Trump was a giant turd to the United States reputation in the world, like, I don't know if I even want to have a conversation, because clearly you're not thinking on the same level as most other people. Like, there's plenty of conservatives out there. They'll tell you, like, you know what? I'm glad we got our Supreme Court justice, but you know what? He's undermining, like, this one policy I like. Like, you can't even be like, oh, well, you know what? He's keeping the immigrants out. Well, no, because he was incompetent and he just rushed into it. It's been in the courts and screwed up. Well, I like that happened. I mean, if you're a conservative and that's what you want, or if you're just, I don't even know what to call you. If you're a Trumpist, like, you should be like, what were you thinking? You know what I mean? Like, you screwed this up. We had our shot. And now there's going to be a giant wave, most likely, that will hopefully, like, strike back at all this and hopefully wipe out some of this. But I just don't, just such a bad time. I mean, even conservatives, I read a lot of conservatives on Twitter, and, they're the ones that are like never Trump. They, they come from a very interesting point of view. And I respect those people, even though I don't agree with their opinion, because they're able to tell, they're at least speaking some truth to power on, they're holding themselves to some standard that a whole bunch of people are not.
Yeah, I mean, speaking truth to power is, I think, one of the things that Congress doesn't really do anymore. At least not the Republican part. Because if you want to speak truth to power, that's going to put you in a really difficult position in terms of being able to get the support you need, because voted in support of the party, and if you start acting in opposition of the party, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans are screwed. I mean, if they turn against Trump, they're going to get a backlash from their base. And if they stay with Trump, they're going to probably get wiped out in the next election. So they're kind of in a crappy place. It'll be interesting to see where everybody, ends up.
I think one of the most entertaining things I've read about this whole Comey thing was this article from the Washington Post. It's an op-ed, and let me chuck a link in the chat here for you guys here. It says, "Tell us again about your uncomfortable dinner with the important man, Mr. Comey." It's very much, it frames itself as like almost like a transcript, but it sums up everything that everybody said in a very funny way. Like, it says, Senator Mark Warner, "Before we start, just to be clear, this is not a witch hunt. If it were a witch hunt, I would have a big white wig and would also have called your demon familiar to the stand. Now, take it away." Comey says, "Boy, golly gosh, thank you. I am deeply troubled. I'm quite troubled all the time. I knew I could be fired, but I was confused and concerned by the way it happened. The reasons shifted, and I was troubled. The president kept telling me I was doing a good job and everyone loved me, which did not trouble me. But then when he fired me, he said it was the Hillary Clinton thing, and at that, I was very troubled." It just goes on. The paragraph ends with, "The FBI has never been in disarray a day in its life. It's the one shining beacon of light that remains to us in this mess of a country. It's the only beautiful thing in this broken world. I miss it so much."
Yeah, I mean, even that opening, I know that's the parody version of that opening.
Right. It is like its own, it is a bit of a sampling of what was said.
It was really interesting how much Comey came off like a witness, and he didn't really. I mean, obviously now he's he's a witness in a case, not running the investigation, but he did a really good job of saying what needed to be said, giving out information that made him look like humble and flawed, and he admitted the mistakes that he thinks he made. I mean, he pretty much called himself a coward in some of these cases where he thought that maybe he should have been more forceful. And it's really interesting to see that from somebody. You can tell, when somebody's actually skilled at what they do and they actually know what they're doing, and they're willing to admit, they're willing to be humble about what they did. Like, he was willing to say that he could be wrong. He could interpret things the wrong way. It's stuff that you would never hear out of Donald Trump. And it just, I just don't. It's just. I turned on AM talk radio in the middle of the day after the Comey hearing.
Why would you do that?
because I was curious what they would be talking about, and all they talked about was Marco Rubio. And when Marco Rubio got him to say that, oh, he wasn't being investigated, and you didn't get that leaked, you didn't leak the part that he wasn't under investigation at that moment, and it was clear, like, they're really not, they're just spinning it for the way they want to see it. And then, and then immediately the conversation goes to how they want to primary the moderate Republicans that voted against the AHCA. And I was just like, oh my God, what kind of world is this? But just, our media silos. You could, like you said, you could come out of this saying like, oh, Comey's a leaker. And, and Loretta Lynch, was trying to mess with the investigation a little bit of the emails. Like changing a word. It just, I don't know. What do you want to say, Cherba? I'm occupying a lot of time.
I watched the whole thing, and first of all, I was very impressed by Comey's poker face, because there's a couple of points there where I would have, given a fucking pretty cold side-eye out to the fucking Republican dudes who are like, oh, so according to your testimony, Donald Trump did nothing and you're actually a bit of a shit. And I'd just like, no, that's not what I said. Get fucked. Which is also a compelling reason why I should never be under fucking recorded testimony in front of Congress, because I'll probably tell someone to get fucked on the record.
I wonder if someone's done that in a congressional testimony.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that in Australian Parliament, if you curse, and in legal proceedings, if you curse, it is often struck from the record or listed as expletive.
I've seen that. Expletive,
I've seen that in the. I've seen that in the Hansard a couple of times.
Oh yes, a couple of times in the Hansard. There's been plenty of interjection or inaudibles. When, believe me, when you were there on the day, it was very fucking audible.
Man, there's just so many different things. Like, I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, there was the part about how every conversation that they had, one-on-one, he never give the crap at all about the fact that they were investigating other people at his campaign other than Flynn.
It's just him.
And they, and he cared not really. He wasn't like, oh, hey, can you give me an update on what's going on with the Russian interference with the election? Like, that wasn't, he didn't care about that. He didn't care about his people other than Flynn, because I'm not really sure why he cares so much about Flynn compared to everybody else.
I have a theory on that, but go on.
Oh, please do.
Yeah. Oh, you can chime in.
Well, my theory on that is that he's so fucking hardcore about protecting Flynn and everything else, but how it reads to me is that he was trying to play it close to his chest as best he could. The whole, well, if any of my fucking satellites are found to be guilty of Russia, I think that's a great thing. Go ahead, investigate all you like. That just sounds like someone who is guilty and knows they're guilty, trying to bluff their way out of it by basically going, oh, well, please throw me in the briar patch.
Yeah.
So I reckon I reckon that he knows there's other people in his campaign who are guilty, and the reason he's protecting Mike Flynn is because everyone else knows it too, with Mike Flynn.
Well, I mean, Mike Flynn is the one where they're like, oh, look, here's a picture of him at a dinner with Putin and the Green Party leader, and he didn't record that money on his ethical form or whatever. Like, I mean, it's like, come on, guy. Yeah, it's like he did not register himself as a foreign actor when he was getting, filling out his paperwork. It's like, come on, guys. Like, what's the point of, from what I've been wondering about that foreign actor paperwork that you're supposed to fill out, does anybody ever fill that out? Because apparently no one does, because everybody is being caught up into suddenly going like, what? Oh, I work for Turkey. You didn't know? Like, oh, did I leave that off that sheet? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, what an oversight.
I mean, the amount of memory problems these guys have, like Sessions, who's like, "Oh, I never met with any Russians during the campaign." Wait.
Except these guys.
This guy,
These guys.
I did meet with one. Wait, and another one goes out. Oh, twice. Oh, now there's 3, because that's what leaked out of the closed door session after the Comey hearing, was that he had a third meeting that he hadn't talked about, which means he like super lied in front of Congress, which is not the greatest place to be found to be lying.
Not so
exactly.
much, no.
I also did like that Comey was very clearly dancing around a few things, like, why didn't you tell the Attorney General about all this? Just kind of silence for a minute. And then, like, very delicately, he's like, well, we believed he might recuse himself from Russia-related matters in the very near future. And
Yeah.
and then he's like, which turned out to be apparently true. And I'm like, wow, that was the most tactfully fucking deployed apparently I've heard all day.
It's really
Right.
great how like that stuff, like it's not hard to read it, and yet you can people just conveniently just ignore that when they're
Right.
trying to respond to it. It's just like, come on, guys, it's very
Well, I mean,
clear
you
what's
know
being
what?
said here.
You know what? And this is the difference between someone like Trump, who has no experience maneuvering when sensitive information is needed to be kept private, and where tact is required, versus Comey, who is a skilled operator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
know.
operator
Let's-
operating operationally.
The just
Yes.
the last like just slightly
Right.
involved with politics thing I want to talk about before we move to the next topic is the whole Qatar mess. Is it pronounced Qatar? Because I always pronounced it Qatar.
Oh, yeah, it's Qatar.
I think it's
Qatar,
Qatar.
dude.
I think it's Qatar because they said that on NPR, and I was like,
No, they were wrong. It's Qatar.
Okay, because I say Qatar, but I'm pretty
Right.
sure that a bunch of
This is-
foreign policy experts on NPR,
I
like,
know.
Qatar, like
But this is
yeah.
one of the few times I'm going to disagree with how NPR does things. It's Qatar. It's not Qatar.
So anyway, the funniest thing occurred today, which is, well, I should say in the whole week. So some information came out, I guess, that caused Saudi Arabia and the rest of the other peninsula,
The UAE.
yeah, the UAE, all to embargo Qatar. Qatar. Now I'm gonna have trouble with it. Qatar. And Trump just was like, yeah, we're stopping terrorism, and yeah, and this is what I was doing. And then like advisors were like, by the way, our largest base in the Middle East is in that country.
It's in Qatar.
Oh, that information looks like it was made up by the Russians. And like today, our Secretary of State comes out and says, hey guys, back the F off. Like, please, let's resolve this diplomatically without all this craziness. And
Right.
like 20 minutes later, Trump undercuts his Secretary of State and calls out Qatar again.
Yeah.
Qatar again. Damn it.
I mean, and Saudi Arabia, they revoked Al Jazeera, which is based in Qatar. They revoked Al Jazeera's broadcasting license and shut down the studio in Saudi Arabia. UAE was taking similar actions, I believe. And they want Al Jazeera gone. That's what they want.
The list of demands that they issued were hilarious. They were kind of like, stab yourself in the side and let yourself bleed out.
While you're at it, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. Yeah.
Okay, it turns out this Qatar thing is actually a little bit more interesting than it seemed on the surface.
Oh, you didn't know
please.
about this? Or
No, not that. I mean how it's pronounced.
Oh,
Apparently.
okay. Here we go.
Apparently, the UK English pronunciation is Qatar, like
Right.
pretty much very similar to Qatar. The US pronunciation is Qatar.
Right.
Neither of them are actually the local pronunciation, which is closer to gutter or quatter. because the first I suppose character that in the name when it's written in Arabic, that sound doesn't really exist in the English language.
Oh.
So it's actually kind of tricky to translate that word into a pronounceable English word while still keeping it accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, haha, we're all wrong. No.
So
Sort
it's like
of.
calling
We're all
it's like
right.
calling
Yeah.
Japan Japan.
Yeah.
Yes, instead of Nippon. So
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Let's see. Before I get to where I need to jump out of hyperspace, Wonder Woman movie. Skojo. Yeah, how you saw it? How was it?
well, am I the only one who saw it? Is that what we're coming
Sure,
to?
but have you seen it?
no, I haven't had the chance. I've been too busy.
Yeah,
Me
well, I
neither.
can understand.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to see my full review, check out Atomic Trivia War 9000, where I review Wonder Woman. But the hot take on it is it was the best DC movie I've seen since The Dark Knight. What that
Oh.
means is that it was about as good as a medium Marvel movie.
Ant-Man-ish.
I would say
We're
no.
out there.
Ant-Man is really high on my list, actually.
Oh, really?
It's probably closer to the first Captain America movie, which is funny because everybody compares the first Captain America movie to Wonder Woman.
Basically everything that comes out of Marvel.
Well, that's true too. I mean, it was. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It had a really, like, the third act was a kind of a mess, and it had some pacing issues. But all of the DC movies have had pacing issues. The beginning first third is. I really enjoyed that. The chemistry between the two main people, Chris Pine and what the hell's her name?
Gadot.
Yeah, Gal Gadot. Is like really
is
really
it
great.
Gadot or Gadot?
Godot.
Okay.
Waiting for Godot. I enjoyed it. It was definitely made me more optimistic for the other DC movies, which I've seen all of the DC movies, and I don't hate any of them, but I don't tend to hate movies. I tend to watch them with the expectation that you should when you go to see them, which is they're fun and stupid. That they're going to be fun and stupid. Like, I'm not looking for Shakespeare for my superhero films. And the end of not to be big and spoiler, but the end of Wonder Woman includes like a big, CG heavy fight that just didn't need to be there. Like, it just kind of wasn't. It was kind of boring.
So what I'm interested, the thing is that I think this movie has outperformed everyone's expectations thus far.
Well, I think they were saying something like they only expected like a $50 million opening weekend.
Oh yeah, and they have gone, and it has thus far gotten 220. It got a $223 million global opening weekend, and it is well on track to blaze into the mid 400s in global receipts. So, which is pretty good.
Safe to say, I
it's
think they've
it's
made
no
back
Frozen.
their budget.
Yeah. Well, that's the other funny part is Wonder Woman was like the cheapest of their movies that they've made recently, and I guess constraining themselves helped them make an actually good movie. The other thing that was slightly disappointing for the movie for me was like Wonder Woman has such cachet. Like DC has done a really good job of merchandising Wonder Woman to kids. Like the DC girls, like they're really like pushing these like young female DC characters towards little girls. This movie is not meant for kids. Like, I mean, obviously it takes place in World War I and involves, poison gas weapons. But on top of that, there's just a lot of sexual humor, just a lot of violence. But I was just kind of like, I kind of watched it and was like, man, it's going to be a while before I could show this to my daughter. Really, she'll be like 6 when I show it to her. But, it's definitely more of a
PG-13
mature film.
movie.
Yeah, no, I know.
How bad could it be?
It was, I mean, like I think you could show any Marvel movie to, except for, I had the same problem with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was like really obsessed with showing you every person getting horrifically killed in a ship of like a couple hundred people. Like they show a guy just kill them all and like focuses on each person as they get killed. Like, and
Wow.
I was just like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. I mean, I enjoy it, but then
serious.
I'm like, yeah, this gets serious. But like, majority of the Marvel movies, like their violence is there, and it's intense, but it's not like gratuitous usually. And like, Guardians of the Galaxy came up to that line and was like probably okay on the okay side, but I still would be like a little reluctant to show if I had like an under 10-year-old Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And considering that film has like a baby Groot in it that's like designed to suck in little kids, like
the most merchandisable thing on the planet.
And then you make a movie, and that's what my problem with to bring it back to Wonder Woman, that's like Wonder Woman's problem too. Like all this great children's merchandising for Wonder Woman, and the film isn't meant to be, it can't really be watched by like people under 10.
So speaking of gratuitous violence, let's talk about Logan. Oh fuck, that was a good movie.
Oh, that was a good movie too, but see that movie,
I still haven't seen it.
It's not like they're making
Netflix,
Logan children's toys for like 6-year-olds.
Well, they are. It's just not from the movie Logan.
No, yeah. Wolverine's in his yellow, jumpsuit or whatever, and like kind of stabbing people, but nothing's really happening compared to Logan.
Dad, can we get the Wolverine movie? Yeah, sure, son.
Oh yeah, he's just a comic character.
Why do we have high voices, Dad? Oh, it's genetic.
I feel like it's anime all over again, right? Like it's like, oh well, I'll just buy you this anime movie. They can't be that bad, right?
Look at it. It's Cowboy Bebop.
Scroll.
It's cartoons.
Ninja Scroll.
Oh god, Ninja Scroll. That's worse. Oh god.
What could be bad? It's just ninjas. I mean, it's gonna have a little bit of violence in it, right?
Afro Samurai. Let's get some of that in there.
Well, was there anything in Afro Samurai? I don't remember.
Samuel L. Jackson.
It was Samuel L. Jackson doing a lot of cursing, and also like Kill Bill-esque fountains of blood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And a dude who had a giant teddy bear head and a motorcycle. That was pretty badass.
And motorcycle. And then, so the Wonder Woman thing, more than a few theaters had women-only opening weekends, women-only opening showings. And the
internet shouty men were
active...
very cross.
They were very cross. When's our men's opening night? Hoo-hoo!
Every other night of the year, fuckface.
Most of these movies, when they're like, the audience is 60% men.
You never really appreciate the impact superhero movies can have on you I didn't, until I read an article about where a woman journalist was saying she went to go see the movie, and she and many other women in the theater were crying out of validation, I believe she was saying. The excitement of having someone to identify with who kicks ass.
Yeah, that's true. I think someone said on Twitter, it was like, man, now I know why guys are so freaking, confident. It's like, I see one superhero film that's a strong female, and I'm like, I can take over the world. And like, men see that all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, everybody thinks they're Batman, right?
I wouldn't say I think I'm Batman.
All right, you think you're trying to think of a sound bass hero offhand. Well, not Banshee. Yeah, Lucio. Yeah, I
Black
just,
Canary?
Yeah, Black. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I look good in leggings.
I really look forward to maybe the studio. I'm like really happy too, obviously, because a lot of the great heroes, especially of modern times, are female heroes that have not been getting their chance. Or you have something like, like
Kamala Khan.
Squirrel Girl's coming to TV soon.
Oh,
She's getting
I
a
want to
TV show?
see.
They're doing New Warriors, and
Ah.
she's going to be on the New Warriors apparently. Though
Oh, man.
I have no idea how that's going to be good.
I hope it's
But we'll
Ultimate
see.
Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl. That would be the best. Just like, how are you going to hide your tail? What tail? I don't see any tail behind this conspicuously large and awesome donk.
There should be a Squirrel Girl movie. I don't want to.
That is literally a line from the comic, but too.
Really?
Yeah, she hides her
That's kinda
tail
crazy.
in her pants to give, and her method of hiding it is to give herself a conspicuously large ass.
Did you read the issue of Squirrel Girl where she gets sucked into nightmares and she finds out that the guy who controls nightmares is weak against computer science topics?
Oh yeah, like teaching him how to count.
What?
Yeah, she like they like
Wait.
he keeps Nightmare, the Marvel, like, you know, evil in your dreams guy, gets
Boogie.
Squirrel Girl into you know, trapped in dreams, and so she ends up fighting all these different villains, but she can control her dreams clearly. And so like Count Nefarious appears and she treats him like, you know, the Count from Sesame Street. So she's like,
Sesame Street.
hey, you're really obsessed with counting, aren't you? I can show you how to count in binary. With like, or like the question was like, how can you count? How high can you count with one hand or something? And she's like, 32. And he's like, how can you do that? That's impossible. And you know, and they teach you actually how to count in binary.
Wait, so
Or
is
the
she,
one
is
with
she like a
Dr.
computer
Doom.
scientist or something? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, she's going to school for computer science. That's her
Oh, cool. Neat.
background.
Where's Gojo? What about the one where like Dr. Doom rocks up? Everyone's like, "Oh shit, is that Dr. Doom?" And she just goes, "No, it's cosplay. It's cosplay." And everyone's like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah.
Oh, that was Punisher. Punisher. Yeah.
Yeah, the Punisher rolls up. She's like, "No, it's cosplay." And he's like, "Oh, never mind. Have a great day." Just fucking rolls off.
That, if you're not, on a quick comic book aside, if you're not reading Squirrel Girl, you should. It's really great.
Oh man.
But yeah, Wonder
I
Woman.
love the impotent. I love the impotent rage of the men's right activist folks when they're like, "We're gonna tank this movie," and then it proceeds to do exceedingly well.
Probably
You know what?
because they were all staying home, so other people actually would want to go to the theater.
Well, no, they probably showed up.
Hey!
They probably showed up anyway because they have to see it before Justice League because they have to go see all the comic book movies. Duh. Like they're just forced to go anyway. It's like me trying to boycott like something I really love. I'm just gonna be like, well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna eat
All
this
right.
anyway, like Chick-fil-A.
One last topic for the evening.
Oh, really? Because I had a really
so,
good one about
we-
Bernie.
Okay, go on.
Well, I wasn't technically being serious, but I do have have a
well.
speech on Bernie if you really want something.
Please do. We love it when you speechify, Churbs.
Okay, basically, no, he wouldn't have won. That's stupid. Why are you saying he would have won and he would have stood up to the RNC Oppo file if you also simultaneously think that a bunch of nasty private emails from the DNC are the reason that he lost the primary by 4 million votes? And, on top of that, like, have you noticed that he doesn't actually really do anything to stop his supporters from being absolute cockheads?
Well,
Like,
he can't.
he
It's
could-
hard to control them. It's really.
He could
it's
step
really-
up and say, like, hey, no, guys, cut down the vitriol. We're a revolution of love, not a revolution of hate. He doesn't. He gives half-hearted dismissals when pushed. When someone fucking attacks Hillary Clinton, he does nothing. When someone throws fucking money at them, as people did with Hillary Clinton, like throwing their fucking wad at her as she's gone past, he fucking does nothing, says nothing. His followers go after motherfucking John Lewis. He
Yeah.
does fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there
the
was
standard you walk past is the fucking standard you accept. So fucking Sanders, who is not listening to this, so I'm not sure why I'm addressing him directly, maybe fucking stop walking, son.
Yeah, I was listening. A quick aside on this: I was listening to the Political Gab Fest, and they had their live show where they were interviewing John Hickenlooper, who's the governor of Colorado.
That's
And
a bad name.
I know, right? And he was talking. He was talking about this. He was talking about the divide in the Democratic Party, and he was like, "Look, I'm a Big Tent person." Because you got to think about this. Back in the 70s, when we were protesting the Vietnam War, we were closing campuses down. There was giant protests in the street. And you know who won that year? Richard Nixon, because we were too busy fighting amongst ourselves instead of just focusing on what matters and just getting rid of, making sure Richard Nixon didn't become president. And I really hope that we don't. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping Trump doesn't make it through his first term because he gets impeached. But
so what you're saying is you don't want us to do that again.
I fear the biggest thing I fear is a divided opposition that screws itself over, and we continue to get, these spineless kind of corrupt Republicans running.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like fucking Bernie and his crowd are doing a damn thing to help that. They are basically
really
just attacking constantly.
Well,
Even a year after the primary, the leaders of that section of the party, including Bernie, do absolutely nothing because they revel in it. They see it as their supporters stepping up and having a voice and speaking truth to power and, putting them on the national stage. The only problem is that the price of them on the national stage is Trump in the director's chair.
Exactly. 100% agree.
Yeah. All right. One more topic. Let me see how long we've been at this. We got time. One more topic. It's a good one, I think. So, recently, President Trump rolled back the United States' commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement. Well, never mind the fact that world leaders basically made fun of us for it. But, in a wonderful thing, which Republicans should be very happy about, the states have affirmed their rights and are basically committing to the Paris Agreement, whether or not the federal government wants it or not. Governor Jerry Brown, for example, went over this past week and met with several provincial leaders, and by provincial I mean not in the small area provincial. I mean leaders of provinces in China to talk about what they can do to work together to fix the climate. The Council of Mayors, which I may be getting that wrong, but basically it's a gigantic. The what?
Are they all horses?
No, not mayors. 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 Let's see. Let's call it the Council of Mayors. The Council of Mayors, which is a group of something to the tune of 8,000 mayors across the country. Roughly 80 to 90% of them have also agreed to do this, including the mayor of New York City, Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles over here, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, bunch of the northwestern state, primary northwestern city. Basically, every major city. The top 9 out of the top 10 cities in the United States, their mayors have confirmed that they're going to be doing this, whether the United States federal government wants it or not. Quite frankly, I love that they're giving such a big FU to the Trump administrations in this regard. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just another one of those issues, as we've been ranting most of the night about, where Donald Trump says, oh, well, we're going to renegotiate and get a better deal, when in reality, nothing in the Paris Accord was a hard target. Everything was voluntary, and it was based on shaming. So if you wanted to say that you couldn't handle the targets that we were being told we needed to hit, we could just have told them that we weren't going to make those targets and kept in the treaty and not been a big giant laughingstock of the world. But because Trump would rather just play to his base and piss everybody else off, he's put the United States on even weaker negotiating footing than we would have been otherwise if he just wanted to say, hey guys, look, we changed a few of our rules. We're not going to be able to reach this target, but we'll get to this target. Like, if that's what he wanted to do, he just screwed that up by saying he's going to withdraw from it. It's just, what a masterful negotiator that we have here.
Yes, he has taken away these other countries' ability to shake their finger at the US and go, shame, shame, shame. And instead given them the ability to go, shame, shame, shame,
Shame.
you giant fucking spanner.
Yeah. In fact, the European Union actually, they have literally pledged to bypass Washington and work with the United States state governors directly, as opposed to having to go through Washington.
I think we can expect the Republican governors to turn that one down.
Actually, no. There are Republican governors who are like, no, climate change is a real thing. It's directly affecting, the people I govern. We need to do something about this. That's the most galling thing about this. All the Republican senators, they're like, climate change, it's bogus. Don't worry about it. The governors are like, fuck you. No, this is important.
See, what I don't understand...
And ostensibly, they're representing the same people.
See, what I don't understand, he said, fucking actually understanding, but not saying so for the sake of the line.
Right.
Fucking... is what exactly these people have against, just taking steps anyway, because, I mean, what's going to happen if climate change isn't real? We're just going to fucking make the world a bit better for nothing? Can't have that, can we?
I know, right?
What are we going to do? Oh no, we're going to hand these multi-billion-dollar contracts over to some fucking big corporations. Oh no, that is the most un-Republican thing I've ever heard.
Gasp. You can't do that. That's crazy talk.
We can only give subsidies to oil companies. Jeez.
Right? Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, why would you create all these jobs and, all this infrastructure and shit like that if it wasn't for an oil company?
Oh, man, it was funny. Somebody was listing all the careers that have more jobs in the United States than coal miners. It was pretty much like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there's more butlers in the United States than there are coal miners.
Huh.
That's
an interesting question. U.S. and...
I think we have to vamp now while Victor Googles for how many butlers are in the U.S.
Yeah, well, you know what? So what's distracting me at the moment is that the Black Panther teaser trailer just landed.
I'm avoiding the teaser trailer until I get the real trailer. I don't need to be teased. I already want to see that movie. Actually, I want to see a teaser trailer where it's just like, you open it up and it's just the stars of the movie. Just like, what are you doing watching this? Wait for the real trailer. Are you dumb? Man, you're a bit dumb. And you're funny looking. Bit. Just like literally teasing people.
You were going to watch this anyway. Why are you even watching this?
I was wondering why my stock in Black Panther went up $2.37 today.
So, Victor, can you tell us how many butlers are in the U.S. yet?
I cannot. I can't. I have to actually go and download the census data. It's not as accessible as, say, the Australian census data.
Sadly, yeah, we tweet our fucking census data out. It's great.
I follow the Australian Census Bureau on Twitter. They're hilarious.
There's also one interesting
and Queensland Police.
There's also one interesting note about butlers in the US, is that butlers in the US are not the same thing as butlers elsewhere.
Yeah.
No?
In the US, a butler is basically a valet. A gentleman's gentleman, basically a personal assistant with extras.
He buttles.
But not sexy extras.
Right.
Maybe. You'll have to deal with that with your own butler, I'm afraid. But Everywhere else, that job is called a valet, and a butler is basically the head of all the servants and the household.
See, I thought that's how it was here in the U.S. So,
Well, yes, it is, but the reason for that is because in the US, where butlers appear, usually they were people who were not exactly as rich, who had most of the butlers, but were still reasonably rich. So they could afford to have one main household servant, maybe two. So you end up with the butler being the head of the household, of the servants, just by being either the only one or close to the only one.
Yeah, I'm looking through butlering, and apparently butlering went downhill when slavery ended in the U.S.
Not surprised.
well,
Yeah,
not surprising.
Actually,
Actually, speaking of
in
speaking of
2007,
slavery in the US,
Wow.
a brief aside on the nature of films. I keep seeing people say like, "Oh, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today because they use the N-word." I'm like, motherfucker, have you seen Django Unchained?
Right?
it probably did not.
You probably couldn't make Animaniacs today, though.
Wait, what? Did
About
Apparently
that.
they are, so- I'm given hope because Steven Spielberg is going to be working on it, but I'm a little bit iffy. I'm wondering how good it's actually going to be and how much like it was originally going to be. As long as Slappy the Squirrel is in it, I really don't care.
So there's apparently still 5,000 butlers in Britain.
In Britain.
I know very well.
Churba, you were a valet, if I'm
I
not
was
mistaken.
indeed a valet. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they're not counting them as a valet.
No, they're not counting them as a valet. They're counting butlers.
Yeah, butlers.
Yes.
But-
A valet would fall under household staff, general, I believe, or personal assistants, depending. Because most of your modern valets basically are personal assistants for the most part, and then they also do a few other things around the home.
Yeah.
So to end our
All right,
political episode, what do you think the headline of next week is going to be?
I don't want to go too dystopic and say something like Comey found dead with a communist manifesto in his jacket pocket. Russians believed to be implicated or something like that. I don't know. God, this is just, it's such a weird state of affairs. It's kind of hard to predict anything like that.
I know, right?
Oh, I've got one.
I don't know, Trevor. What do you think?
All coming out in the rinse. Priebus leaks massive cache of documents to press.
Oh man.
Fucking, let's see that motherfucker jump ship while the jumping's good.
I'm guessing that they're going to announce that Jared Kushner is now in charge of another initiative.
Jared Kushner is now
Jared Kushner
Congress.
himself in hot water?
Yeah,
Yes, he is.
he is. But he's
Very
also in
much so.
charge. He's in charge of like every special project that the White House is trying to do.
Oh, goody. As well as selling EB5 visas in China.
Well, yeah, you know.
You know, places I've worked, the kind of slightly useless son-in-law tends to get stuck with the jobs that nobody actually cares if they get done. Because basically all they are is to keep him sitting on his hands without telling him to sit on his hands and not touch anything important.
While simultaneously getting a paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God, that just reminded me that he went to the Russians and wanted to use their communication equipment to have a back channel with the Russians.
No, it's okay, man. You don't have to. Just go into the Oval Office and speak into the lamp.
No, I mean, but we've already forgotten. Yeah, I know, right? But is that that's how crazy we are. Like, we didn't even talk about Reality Winner.
Reality Winner. Oh
And that
my
was-
God.
And that was this week.
Yep.
What a name! I
mean, there's
Also,
just
fucking, I have words about the fucking Intercept, but that's for another fucking time. Hey
Indeed.
guys, clandestine source protection 101. Don't publish pictures of the original fucking documents, you cockfaces. Holy shit. You're an organisation that is famous for dealing with leaks because of Glenn Greenwald. How the fuck do you not know the basics of dealing with sensitive fucking leaks, you twat bags? Holy shit. Is it fucking amateur hour over there? Are all you fuckers good for Bernie columns and Hillary Clinton conspiracy theories? Fucking get your act together.
yes. I mean, yeah, well, that was just, it just sucks. Sometimes you screw up when you try to leak documents.
Yeah.
Oh no, Vice, like, posting geo-stamped pictures of fucking meth head antivirus, whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, yeah.
McAfee.
Yeah, McAfee.
That's him, John McAfee. That is a mistake. Because, like, they actually were told how to, fix that up, and they didn't do it by accident. This was bullshit. This is the fucking Intercept whipping their cock out and pissing all over the wall, going, look how clever I am, I've got these leaks, without realising that maybe there might be some clues in there that can tell people who are better at this than they are where they fucking came from.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like how they kind of, like, backtracked and were like, oh, well, this could be all just, a plant just to throw us all off.
The fucking if I hate the Intercept
But
so much.
Don't we all sound like? Isn't it horrible that we all have to sound like crazy conspiracy theorists now these days? It's just like I feel like I need a giant board of pictures with like string going between all of them, like next to my computer. So I can try to figure it out.
Honest to God, there are days where I will be driving and I'll have NPR on, and one of the reporters will say, President Trump, and my brain will still take a second and like go, wait, that can't be right.
Hey man, back when I was between gigs, I worked for a conspiracy theory magazine for a while. I'm a fucking professional. That was a weird fucking time. Well, okay, the basic reason behind that is that they basically sat there and thought, well, all of the conspiracy theory, all the real conspiracies that we know about, most of them were uncovered by journalists. Therefore, journalists are really good at uncovering real conspiracies and not being called conspiracy theorists. Therefore, we should get our own journalists. So they fucking hired me, and I basically ended up being the fucking token skeptic on staff. And like just doing retrospectives about the history of particular conspiracy theories and like how they came up and how they progressed through time and shit like that without ever actually espousing conspiracy theories. It was a fun time. And plus, they were nice guys, and they paid on time. So, I mean, what more could I want? That's better than some of the fucking respected papers I've worked for.
That is a quality that is rare. All right, well, we have certainly
speaking
had...
of respected papers, The Guardian just emailed me. It was subscription related, though, not actual work.
Okay, not job related. Well, speaking of... We've had a bevy of wonder. We've had a good set of discussion about this this lunacy that is now life, and I think we brought up some good stuff. On that note, it is time for us to end. Thank you to Skojo and
It is time
Choba
for us to end it all.
End it all,
Mr.
please.
Putin, press the big red button, please. I'm sick of this.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.